Hi, my name is Josh Gottry. Welcome to today's weekly lesson. This week we're going to take a look at a technique development book that I wanted to share with you that I think would be a great one to have on your shelf and use in your normal practice routine. Several weeks ago I talked in one lesson about the book Stick Control, which I think is a fantastic resource and a valuable one that's historically proven as extremely useful for percussion technique development. This is another book that I think would be great to sit right alongside of that and become part of your daily practice routine for snare drum technique development. The book I'm talking about is The Regimen. Is written by Shaun Tilburg, came out in 2015. Shaun is currently principal percussionist with the Phoenix Symphony out here in Arizona. I have had the opportunity to meet him and see some clinics. Great percussionist and certainly a great educator as far as the approach to enhancing your percussion technique overall. So we'll take a look at a couple of the highlights of this book and certainly some things that you can do with it. So as most technique books would, Shaun's book starts with some basic technique descriptions as far as how to hold the stick and how to approach playing the drums. He also lists what he considers the 20 essential rudiments. As most of us know, there's the PAS standard 40. He's boiled it down to 20 that he feels are particularly relevant for technique development in the context of his text. And then he has a series of exercises. The first one, just a basic single stroke exercise using right hand alone, left hand alone, and then alternating sixteenths between the two hands. Something simple just like this. So on and so forth. And then he introduces dynamics and things like that as well. So starts very, very basic. So this is certainly a book that is not for only the advanced player or only the beginning player. It's just a comprehensive look at technique for snare drum that can be used for students of any level. Continuing through, does some accent patterns, single stroke accent patterns with 16th notes. Incorporates a standard 16th note grid and a triplet grid, which we've all seen, or probably most of us have seen in rudimental percussion warm-ups. But I think Shaun does a particularly excellent job of incorporating these studies into a context that could be used either for rudimental development or for a concert snare drum approach. So it's particularly applicable in a number of different ways. Introduces some great study concepts that are briefly highlighted in an exercise that's notated, but could be greatly embellished through further study of your own. For example, the Phonebook Exercise, so where you take any series of numbers and play that number of notes within a beat, and so it's continually manipulating our division of the beat. So he spells out one of them using 555 3621, but you could use any number that exists. I know most of us don't have a phone book handy, but any combination of numbers that you could create to use to identify different divisions of the beat. Use a metronome, of course, to work through those exercises. The other thing that I think is particularly relevant in this book and particularly helpful is how he approaches incorporating flams and paradiddles and different rudiments from a logical stroke approach. For example, when we get into flam taps and Swiss Army triplets, Shaun does a particularly good job of isolating what each hand does. For example, in a flam tap, your right hand part is essentially 3 notes, a triple stroke, with the first note being accented, that's the main note of the flam, the second note being softer, that's the tap part of the flam, and the third note being ever so softer still as the greatest note of the next flam. And so Shaun does a good job of providing a little bit of text an explanation and some notation to show here's what the different hands do, and then as you play that hand position, those stroke types, you can execute the rudiment more accurately. So he goes through that on the flam taps and Swiss Army triplets, also flam paradiddles, single flam mills, things like that. So it does a great job of breaking down the rudiment into its composite strokes, allows you the opportunity to work on those strokes through the exercise and gradually work up to the rudiment itself in the context of that same exercise. So anyway, this is the Regimen. It's by Shaun Tilburg. It's something I would highly recommend you pick up. You can visit his website at shauntilburg.com and pick up that book and start incorporating it into your routine. Your practice routine. Also on that website, there are video recordings of these exercises as well, so you have the opportunity to see Shaun model those exercises and use that as a resource also. So the Regimen by Shaun Tilburg, certainly recommend you check it out, make it part of your routine. Have a great week. See you next time.